Hey, JulesBlessedVegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. I'm going to do a brief talk, a series on self-empowerment. And as always, whatever I share on my channel, it's usually whatever I'm going through, but I'm hoping others will benefit. And my first thing I know from my earliest days is when I start manipulating my food, whether it's eating too much food, whether it's eating too little food, whether it's choosing food that doesn't serve me. It usually has to do with feeling unempowered, most certainly. Like my life is out of control in some way, and it certainly has felt that way for a couple of months now. Initially, it was with the whole COVID thing. Because I'm a school teacher, I'm used to having a schedule, and it was kind of pulled out from under me when suddenly we went virtual and our children were never present anymore. So that was freaky, and it brought up a lot of insecurities for me because I wasn't used to distance teaching and I had to learn a lot of things. And even though I like to learn and I'm good at it, it's always a bit overwhelming at first in that process. And unfortunately, that showed in my food and in my food choices. And then there was a couple of different issues, things that we had to resolve just within the home that were challenging for sure. And then most recently, a friend died somewhat unexpectedly, and that brought up a lot of things for me. There's just been things. So sometimes when I give my power away, I know that it's almost intentional. Like I'm almost hoping someone's going to push me in that way because I need an excuse, to like act out. But mostly I like to be empowered, and it's important that I remind myself what that looks like and what steps I need to take to be living in that state. All right, so of course I will share this article as part of the description of the video, and the subtitle starts with self-empowerment. Self-empowerment means an individual is in control of his or her life and views the trials they face in life in a positive way. I'm really good about that. I mostly see life as learning opportunities and chances to grow, and I'm happy to do it. I felt so bad because last night, oh my gosh, we were desperately doing a project where we literally lifted 6,400 pounds in a very brief period of time. There were these 400-pound horse gates. There was like 16 of them. And at one point, unfortunately, 2 of them started to fall. My husband was afraid that I was going to get hit, and he He-manned it and totally pulled both of his forearms holding up those gates. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad. He was in a lot of pain. I pulled one muscle in an arm, but my body was not in pain today. I was just grateful for my strength. And that kind of reminded me that eating, vegan and raw in particular, reduces inflammation in the body. So when you do exercise and stuff, you recover much quicker. And I was so grateful for that. But it says they view things as a positive. While we were out there, I heard some neighbors arguing because it was already getting dark. And one of them was totally saying, it seemed like they had gotten shorted in some deal, because I think she was saying like they put 25% down and da-da-da. And then it ultimately ended with her saying, how come this always happens to us? These things always happen to us, and kind of that victim stance. And I totally get it. That is never my perception, because I'm acutely aware that bad things happen to good people. But one could counter argue that I almost expect bad things to happen, and that's not good. But that was just my truth. For me, it's like, so something bad happened? What else is new? And I don't know if that's good either. But anyway, I felt really bad for her because she really was feeling like life was intentionally doing something to them again, instead of trying to see the way out of that circumstance. But my husband and I argue like that all the time, because he's one of those who says, I can't believe our life. I can't believe this is happening again. I can't believe it. And this happens to us more than anybody, and that kind of thing. And I'm always happy-go-lucky Pollyanna going, it's okay. Let's just pray. It'll be over. Some days he does not want to hear that. and I've yet to decipher what the days are, but trust me. Okay. So anyway, it says, and with the right kind of motivation, a person can be empowered to have a happier and more successful life. So what is that motivation? I'd love to know. A person who generally achieves success usually has a sense of true empowerment. Applying this method in a person's life can change their perspective and help them to see the brighter side of life. Individuals use this technique as it yields positive results. Okay, so a definition. To be truly self-empowered means you have the ability inside yourself to know what is really best for you. Therefore, your actions reflect the power of your own strength that you take from making your own decisions based on this surefire belief in yourself. And I find that super, luckily I'm only at the halfway point of my life because for years and years and years, I was taught to not trust my perception, to not believe in what I was seeing. I would state my truth and absolutely be denied and say, no, you're completely wrong. That's not what you're seeing. That's not what's happening here. And, for a child and even a young adult, that is very confusing. And so it's taken me a long time to trust my perception. And I still falter, but I've come a long way. So I appreciate that, but it's an ongoing process for me. So it says it's the ability of a person to do the things they have never done before due to lack of courage in the past. That part I love, because there are a lot of risks that I've been able to take in my second adulthood. Thus, if one is empowered, it's the same as having a clear vision of where to go, how to get there, and what they need to implement in order to succeed. In addition, this technique implies self-belief, self-trust, and self-leadership. I welcome all of that. Sometimes the tools are given, but the courage to act on them isn't there yet, right? All right, so steps towards empowering yourself. And I like this article because they're just 3 very brief steps, but I will be giving more steps in another talk tomorrow on self-empowerment. It reads, usually it begins when a person interacts with other people. In order for a person to improve on social skills, the individual needs to be as genuine as possible when talking with other people. Showing interest in being nice to other people is also an essential aspect to empower oneself. Showing interest in being nice to other people is an essential aspect to empower oneself. I think that goes back to insanity party of one, your table's ready. Like if you're just so engaged in yourself and you don't even interact with other people, how can you even measure whether you're empowered or not, right? Okay, then it says listening to others is the second step. Listening to other people doesn't entail only hearing their problems, but to sympathize as well. Giving others your attention while they speak is a good way to earn their trust. Sympathy is to feel bad. Empathy is to put yourself in their shoes and say, I get you. I don't know if I agree with that. Next is laughing once in a while. I'm all for that. An individual who knows how to laugh is found pleasing to most people. If a person has a healthy sense of humor, this individual finds joy in every work he or she does and attracts success as well. These steps may seem quite simple, but others find them hard to comply with. However, as the famous line goes, practice makes perfect. By practicing these techniques, you can be a better person and have a better chance of attracting success as well. Empowering yourself can bring success and happiness not only to your own life, but to others as well. Seeing the beauty of having a positive outlook in life, you will be more encouraged to apply these steps to help you succeed and become a better person. Look for more resources to assist you in finding the key to success. All right, well, that was interesting for sure. I have another article which I'm going to talk about tomorrow, but let me go back and just read that definition in its entirety. To be truly self-empowered means you have the ability inside yourself to know what is really best for you. Therefore, your actions reflect the power of your own strength that you take from making your own decisions based on this surefire belief in yourself. It's the ability of a person to do the things they have never done before due to lack of courage in the past. Thus, if one is empowered, it's the same as having a clear vision of where to go, how to get there, and what they need to implement in order to succeed. In addition, this technique implies self-belief, self-trust, and self-leadership. Wow, I'm just getting started, but it's interesting for sure. I'm already sensing a conflict. There's a disturbance in the force within me already. Because you know me, I'm a Christ-centered person, and Christ-centered people look outward, not necessarily only trusting themselves. But I do think it's essential that we do build a trust within ourselves, no question. But unless we look outward and compare with others, we can't really measure what our truth is. Honestly, you can't. If you're living in a vacuum, all is completely true within that vacuum, but it doesn't mean it's right. People who are isolated don't have a real perception of things because they've never compared their life to other ways of doing things. So just because one says, okay, I'm at peace with myself, I'm a friend to myself, I'm with myself and long to strengthen and be my best self, doesn't mean that they automatically have the tools. I'm really struggling with that. So it says, if one is empowered, it's the same as having a clear vision of where to go, how to get there, and what they need to implement in order to succeed. How, pray tell? Does that just come? No, you have to seek. You have to seek guidance from people who've made it already, right? All right, we're going to continue to talk on this. I hope it interests you. Self-empowerment. And again, I will include this in the description of the video, but I will have a different one tomorrow with more steps. Okay, like if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. And until we talk again, my friends, trust that you're blessed.